number one. And then number two, it protects the kid. And I think it would help I think it helps the coach as well. Like, now again, I think the kids are already protected and they can leave anytime. But I think if that was the case and you could sign early and they fire the coach or the head coach leaves, then hey, you're free to open your recruitment back up, because I think that's important. They're already protected; they can leave anytime they want. But I think if you had an early signing period, but it would cut out a lot of these fake offers, and it would protect these kids so they, from coaches coming back and pulling the offer. I think that is important, and I think it would protect the high school recruiting. So who knows? But I think also maybe there would be some ADs out there that might give that coach maybe another year. There's a really good class signed, committed already, and he might say, you know what, hey, because if I fire this guy, these guys are they can go wherever they want. It might give that guy another year or two. So I think it's good on both sides, to be honest with you. And I know there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. When is there not a lot going on? So, I mean, there's never this utopia moment. You have to learn how to balance things. You got to learn how to spin a bunch of plates at one time. That's just the way it is. So I personally like it, where it is. I do think there should be some changes from the portal standpoint. I think that, again, I think right now a kid should be, if your coach leaves, your head coach, if he leaves or is fired, you ought to be able to go and play wherever you want. I think that's great. I think if you're a graduate, you ought to be able to go and be eligible right away. You come to college to get a degree, and you've earned that right. I think you ought to be able to go and be eligible right away. But I think there just needs to be, a few tweaks. I think, first of all, that if you're not a graduate or your coach is not fired, you should have to sit a year. You should sit a year, get acclimated. Because I think because right now we have no barriers, we have no reason for pause, we have no pain, no consequences. And so I think if a kid had to sit a year, again, you can go anywhere you want, anytime. You don't need anybody's permission. But if your coach is not fired or left, or you're not a graduate, you sit a year. And then guess what? Upon graduation, you get that year back. And if you're this big-time superstar, you're not going to need that extra year anyway, right? So, but we would incentivize graduation, which is what we should be about in collegiate athletics. That's my opinion. So, and I think that would, if there was just a little bit of pause, it would cut back on some of these hasty decisions that kids make. Just a little bit of pause, and now all of a sudden maybe that kid's like, that's it, a season, and they push through. And 9 times out of 10, man, it works out for them. But, again, there's lots of opportunity. But I think, number one, it would stop tampering, because you got all this tampering going on out there because now there's this whole new pool of recruits, right? It's not just high school kids anymore or graduates or junior college guys. It's freshmen. It's mid-year enrollees. It's sophomores. And that's not good. It's not healthy. It's not good for the game. It's not good for anybody. And so, it would cut out the tampering, number one. And again, I think it would protect the high school recruits. It would protect high school recruiting a little bit. Because, again, you got a lot of these high school kids that aren't getting opportunity. So, if coach leaves or is fired, hey, you go. You're eligible. No problem. And I think that makes everybody have to make good decisions there. Make hasty decisions with coaches too. I think it works both ways. And I think, if you're not a graduate or your coach isn't gone, you can go, but you sit. Now there's just a little bit of consequence that now all of a sudden you got to really want to do that. And what's wrong with a little bit of development? What's wrong with a little bit of time? Like we all want this microwave. Like we need to have a crock pot mentality. Like, right, the best meals come from that crock pot when you leave at about 8 in the morning and mama's got some food in the crock and you're like, woo, that's going to be good when I get home about 6, right? But everybody wants it in the microwave, and that's usually not the best meals, the one you just heat up. That's how everybody wants it to be, but That's just what I think. So, and I'm passionate about the high school kids and the high school recruiting and the development. So, but, what do I know? I don't know. That's what I think.
Dabo, based on your interactions this recruiting cycle, how often was NIL brought up by the recruits or family members?
Yeah, I mean, you address all those things. You talk about just like it's a holistic approach. We talk about our program, and that is a part of our program. But as far as like using it as like you come here, you get that ain't us. That ain't ever going to be us. I mean, you have people out there guaranteeing people this and that. How do you do that? First of all, it's against the rules. Secondly, how do you guarantee somebody something they ain't even done anything? Like, shouldn't you have to perform? So all I can tell you is this is Clemson. And, man, our kids, and the reason you got all these people coming is because, again, our focus is on the guys on the roster. And when your players on the roster, they're happy, they know they have opportunity, that resonates to the recruits. So that's your best recruiters are the guys on your team, best recruiters you got. It's also the worst recruiters you got.
But did you have a lot of recruits and families asking about that?
We address all of those things. Again, they ask about strength conditioning. They ask about nutrition. They ask about academic services. They ask about housing. They ask about, offense, defense. Just part of the conversation. It's no different. It's just another piece of the pie now.
I guess 2 years in a row, going back to Hunter Johnson last year, now Paul, quarterbacks are coming into a situation where they know they're probably not going to be a starter. What about the situation appealed to Paul? I guess why is he a person that was willing to come to that position?
Yeah, we're honest. We're transparent. I'm not looking for somebody. I'm not looking for him to. I wasn't looking for a guy to come in here and be the starter. We think we have that, but we needed a guy. You got Trent, who hasn't played. CV's just getting here. And we're going to let him compete. We'll see how it all plays out, and maybe it works out. Maybe Cade does what we think he can do, and maybe it works out where we could maybe play CV 4 games and hold him. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe CV wins the job. I don't know. But we needed an older guy who's been through a lot of game plans, a lot of practices, somebody who's got a level of maturity to him, a Hunter Johnson situation. That's what we needed. And honestly, we were going to wait till May. We were going to wait till May and let all this stuff settle out and sort out and spring ball and all that, and then we were going to go get a guy in May that, thought he might, because, that's the other sad part about this. There's a lot of kids that aren't going to have opportunity. They're going from a scholarship to no scholarship, or they're going, to a level they didn't anticipate. But we knew there would be somebody in May at that position that when it came down to it would want to come get, Clemson experience and to compete to, be a 2, if you will. And so we were very honest with Paul, and he had a lot of Group of 5 opportunities. He had one really good SEC opportunity to go compete to be the starter. But I think, for him, he values who we are here, and I think he's also a guy that wants to, coach at some point, and I think he saw this as the best of both worlds for him, to be a great teammate, to be ready, to help these young guys grow and mature. He's seen a lot. He's been around some great players, and he's been around some great coaches, but also to, further lay a foundation for what he wants his future to look like. So, and for me, that's like, so that was our, we're just transparent, what we're looking for, and the rest is history. And, to me, I'm like, wow, it'd be pretty cool to be able to help Bear Bryant's great-grandson get into coaching one day, help him develop, a little bit in that realm. So that'd be pretty cool. But we got some time before that comes. We need him to bring that veteran presence that Hunter brought for us. Really thankful we got Hunter Johnson right now. I'll tell you that. I'm really thankful we got him. And so that's kind of what we were looking for. And again, we were going to wait till May, but it just kind of happened and came about. And Hamp Green actually reached out. One of our players, Hamp Green, actually reached out to me to let me know that Paul was in the portal and you know, that he would be interested in talking. So that's kind of how that came about. So called him and had a conversation and asked him what he's looking for and talked about what we're looking for. And he came up here and decided to come.
Kind of in regards to the portal, you could sign more than 25 this year. For the first time, they took the cap off. So you go, 28. And so a lot of people say, well, the only way you can build now is through the portal. But it's obvious. You think, no, I'd rather have Ronan Hannafin for 3 or 4 years. I'd rather have Tyler Brown for 3 or 4 years than some other guy for 1 or 2. Is that?
It depends on where you are. For some places, that's the only way you can build.
Sure.
You know, because maybe you're just getting that job. Maybe you're having to flip an entire roster. That's not us. I mean, you know, we've been here. We've had 13 top 15 recruiting classes in a row, 12 10-plus win seasons in a row, 7 out of the last 8 years conference championships. I mean, we've been incredibly consistent, and it's not that, you know, there could be a gap. You know, as I've said, I mean, there could be a gap. Last year, you know, we tried to get a couple of high-level OL. Both of them turned out pretty good. It's a very small pool. I don't care how many people in the portal. When what we're looking for, it's a very small pool, and so, you know, otherwise it's not right for us. I mean, it has to be the right fit, and again.